Dad here. Today we are having a great day today so far. Knock on wood. Of course, we're just getting started too. All three of us just now leaving right now. The feeling of having 3 trucks on the same job is just such a cool feeling. Such a cool feeling. There you go, now you guys can start to see me. Driving down my driveway is kind of dark. So, one of the things, I got a comment like a few days ago. The guy said something along the lines of, man, you must love to hear yourself talk. You must think you're a legend or something. It's like, dude, I feel like a legend, man. I'll be honest. When you got 3 trucks rolling out, you feel like a legend. Especially when you came from not having anything. You know? When I came from being the kid that was bullied every single day in high school, in junior high, in elementary. Like, I was literally that kid being bullied every single day for a birthmark on my head, for not having, designer clothes. Now I finally made it to that level where I'm the boss and I got 3 employees. Like, it's very hard for me trying not to be proud of myself. I'll be honest, I'll be 100% honest. It's hard for me to be, humble about it, because I'm so thankful of what I've been able to accomplish and how, I've been able to accomplish everything. It's hard for me not to flex about it, Like, coming from being that kid that was made fun of every single day to now, I'm making over $450. That's freaking nuts. That's nuts right there. We're billing more than $400 an hour today. That is legend status in my book. That's freaking legend status. I mean, honestly, anything over $100 an hour is legend to me, because it just doesn't. It's still, even though I've been in business for this is my 4th year, it still feels surreal. It doesn't feel real that I'm making this much money. That's why I feel like I'm a legend. I'll be 100% honest. It just feels unrealistic to me. It feels unreal. And everybody that came from a spot like where I was at, where you didn't have nothing, where you grew up in basically a trap house, when your dad was doing, friggin' smoking a glass pipe in front of you. That's what I grew up in, right? My dad smoking in front of me, my mom telling him, don't do that in front of him, and my dad saying, he don't know what this is. That's where I grew up. So you gotta see things from my perspective to understand why I do the things where I'm coming from, right? I had nothing, Grew up on Hilltop. For any of you that know Washington, you know Hilltop in Tacoma is, I don't know if it's still considered the ghetto. When I grew up, it was basically the equivalent to, the Bronx or the projects or Compton, That's what it was in Washington. Hilltop was the ghetto. We lived in a slumlord house. Like, there was literally pigeons living in our roof. You know? And now I'm the guy that's pulling in more than $400 an hour. So, when you say that I feel like a legend, hell yeah, I feel like a legend. Look where I came from. You can't stay 100% humble when you make that kind of transition. Like, a little bit of it does go to your head. You know? There's nobody on the planet that cannot let that go to their head a little bit. Think about it. You know, if you came from being the kid that got made fun of every single day in school to, you know, going to the principal's office almost every single week. You know, I've had kids spit on me. I've been jumped going home. Like, you don't know where I come from. You see all these videos about me being happy and me starting a business. You know, you sound like you feel like a legend and this and that. Yeah, I do feel like a legend. I'll be honest, I do. Because where I came from, and I know I didn't do it all myself, but I did a lot of it myself. You know, and I know there are certain people that helped me out, you know, and I couldn't have made it here without them. But I couldn't have made it here without myself doing a lot of the work either. You know, nobody gives you anything in life for free. You have to work for it. Whether you don't like the saying or not, nothing in life is free, and you gotta work for it. You know? I'm gonna turn that off now. We're in the daylight now. Like, the man, the myth, the legend, you got it, Blake. You know, Blake, you probably feel real good too, you know? It's like, when you come from struggling so hard to pulling in this kind of money, like, you gotta try and stay humble, and I try and stay humble. But the advice I try and give people, it's not because I'm saying, oh, I'm better than you, I know the perfect way of doing this. That's not my frame of thought. That's not my perspective. The reason behind all of this is because I'm trying to help somebody, you know, that was in my shoes, you know, and just showing them that it can be done, you know. Everybody says, oh, boo-hoo, you know, you can never make anything in life, you're going to be stuck in, you know, lower class your whole life, and, you know, the government has to take care of me, and I'm never going to pull in 6 years, and this and that, and, like, there are so many people out there that are just boo-hoo me, you know. They play that victim card like it's a privilege card, basically. They're like, oh, I'm the only one who's suffering this and that, and just get over it, man. Just go for it. That's really all it takes. Just be willing to fall flat on your face and get up and do it again. You know, just get up and try again. Somebody's gonna see you trying that hard, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna help this guy out. He's actually trying. He actually wants something in life. You know? He's actually putting in some effort. People see the effort. You think that people don't see the effort? It's because you ain't trying hard enough. When you get to the point where you're giving it everything, people notice. People will notice. When you're doing videos every single week about how you're repairing airlines, or you're fixing the brakes, or, you know, these are just some things I did, you know. to show everybody that I was giving it my all. You know? I didn't have nothing to gain from doing those YouTube videos. I wasn't getting paid for them. I did the videos because I knew I was going somewhere. I knew I wasn't going to settle for nothing less than success. So when you tell me, you say, oh, you love the sound of your voice, you think you're a legend. Yeah, I do. I don't think it, I know it. And you can call me arrogant, you can call me cocky. I call it confidence. It's the, you know, and there's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. And a lot of people mistake arrogance from confidence. Between arrogance and confidence, you know, is you gotta try and stay humble about it. You know? You can't be looking at yourself like, oh, I'm the only one that can do this. That's the difference. Confidence is, I know I can do this and everybody else can do it too if they try hard enough. Arrogance is, I'm the only one that can do this. I was born for this. Nobody else can do what I did. That's kind of on the arrogant side, right? That's not what I preach. I haven't been saying I'm the only one that can do this. Nobody else can do this. Sorry guys, you can't buy a dump truck. You'll never make it like I made it. I never said that. I said, anyone can do this. You just got to put in the time and put in the effort. You know, that's what I've been saying this whole time. Since day one, I said, I'll never forget my first video. Guys, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to take you guys for a ride and we're going to see how fast we grow. I think those are almost my exact words from my first video on how much to start a dump truck business. You know, but I got to take some of these comments with a grain of salt because, you know, this might be the first video that they're watching on my channel. You know? That video I did a week ago might have been the first video they watched on my channel and they made some smart aleck remark without even knowing anything about me. They haven't seen the 400 videos I've done. They didn't see me get bullied in school. So they don't know nothing about me. So I gotta take a second and check myself and say, Brian, they're saying that because they don't know you. You know? And I see all the comments, guys. Don't think I don't see the comments. I see all of the comments. You know? And I've been thinking that I should, you know, tone that back a little bit and take the notifications off to my phone so I don't have to see all that crap because some of it gets under my skin. And that's because I'm human. Right? That's because I'm human. We got the orange parade right here. 3 trucks. We got the parade coming on the freeway. You know, so I don't let it get to me 99% of the time, but sometimes it does get to me. And I would say usually when it gets to me, it lets me, you know, you gotta have some sort of criticism, some sort of bullying in your life because it drives you even further. It gives you that, you know, that energy. You gotta have it in your life, whether you like it or not. If you never get tried in anything, if you don't ever have opposition, you won't push hard enough. You know? A lot of the success success stories you'll ever hear is because somebody went through some real crap to get there. You know, they endured some serious stuff to get to where they are. You know, and they use that for fuel, for energy. I mean, 99% of all musicians, for example, they all have that one song like, yeah, my teacher told me I would never amount to nothing in life, and look where I am now, you know? So, I'm thankful for you guys watching, that watch all the time. You guys know where I've come from. You gotta be thick-skinned, crony. That's exactly what it comes down to. You gotta, and you're not gonna be that way at first. You got to develop it. You gotta develop the thick skin because you don't start out with it thick, trust me. When I was in elementary, everything everybody said to me, I took it personal. I internalized that crap. Nowadays, no. I don't internalize half of the stuff that comes at me anymore because you just gotta take a step back. You gotta say, okay, where's this person coming from that says it like this? They're not coming from the same place you are. They're in a different world than you are. You know, they're living their life. Their life's totally different than you. So, of course, they're gonna say something that's different than what you want to hear. So, not this week, but next week I'm going on a family vacation, it looks like, for a week. For a second I thought that was a Sheer Trucking. There's this guy who owns a business called Sheer Trucking in Washington. I don't like that guy. I don't like him. But this ain't about him. This video is about, you know, when you accomplish something like I've accomplished, you have the right to flex a little bit. You do. You got the right to flex a little bit. You know? That's just part of it, you know? Sandy Hook, Kentucky. What's there? What rattled my cage this morning? Those of us that have been here since the beginning, I really enjoyed your growth and cheer you on. Commit to that, man. That's where it's at right there. Blake said back before he got his CDL, he was living on $100 a week, working part-time at a pizza shop while going to heavy equipment school full-time. That's a legend right there, too. You know, Blake started out from where I started out. Nothing. Started out with nothing. My first job, I was making $7 an hour. Like $400 every 2 weeks when I was staff at Boy Scout camp. And then I worked for minimum wage, it was like $8 an hour, making soap. And then I did the slave labor jobs because I wasn't making any money. I figured, man, if I gotta make some money, I need to, you know, do something that's a little bit harder in life, you know, so I can make some more money. That's when I started loading roofs. Started humping bundles. You know, I worked for almost every single roofing distributor in Western Washington. The only ones I didn't work for was like ABC and McKinley or something like that. I can't remember the other one. It was a really small distribution center. They only had like 3 trucks. I worked for all the major ones. And every single year I still got paid nothing almost. I started out at $10 an hour doing the most demanding job I've ever done in my life. Because somebody got me the job. I worked every day though, so hard. You ask anybody that ever worked with me, they will tell you I was one of the hardest workers they ever met. A lot of them hated me. A lot of the other coworkers, they all didn't like me because I would work too hard and it would make them work harder. You know? If I was up on the roof, they better be keeping up. If I was on the truck throwing bundles on the conveyor, they better be keeping up. That's who I was. Like 90% of the other coworkers hated me because I worked too hard. They're like, Brian, we're getting paid by the hour, man, not by the bundle. You know? I said, yeah, but I want to work for my money. I don't want it just given to me. And then I remember this one time, and I don't fault the guy for it. You know, I see his perspective. He was saying some sort of lie or something when we were in the break room or something. He was talking trash, and I just called him out on it. I said, this is what this is. And he just shut up. He just shut it right then. And then afterwards, the guy that hired me, he said, damn, Brian, you stood up for yourself and you told him like it was. You're the only one that's ever done that to him. Hell yeah, dude. Thank you. You know, he needed that. He needed that a long time ago. And I told that guy, I said, you know, I remember he told me, he's like, I'm making $60,000 a year, Brian. That's what I pay taxes on $60,000. He said that like it was a badge of honor. I'll never forget it. He was so proud he was making $60,000 a year. It's like, how much do you make, Brian? And I looked at my thing and I was like, I think I made $30,000 for the year, or 26 or something like that. It was very low. Like not even half of what he made. And I was like, yeah, I didn't make that. But I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get my CDL, I'm gonna get a driving job, I'm gonna be making that too. And he's like, well, we'll see, Brian. And then I got my CDL. I'll never forget this day. The day I left Convoy Supply. I'll never forget that. That was one of the tipping points in my life. Because, right, this was the second roofing company I worked for. The first one I worked for, Pioneer Builder Supply, I was making $10 an hour. And then the company got sold, and then they tried to rip me off. They're like, well, you gotta drive here, drive there, and drive here, and drive there, and we're gonna pay you mileage, but it's only a few pennies, basically. I said, no, I'm not doing that. And then the guy that hired me there, he moved to a different company. He's like, Brian, come on over here. I need you over here, man. I know how you work. Come with me over here. I'll never forget that. Troy, he's the guy that hired me. When he got switched to the other company because the company was going in a different direction because it got sold, he was like, Brian, Austin, and almost everybody that worked for Pioneer Builder Supply left and went to Convoy Supply. Mainly because Troy was the dispatcher. Everybody loved that guy because he didn't lie to you about the loads. He didn't lie to you. He didn't sugarcoat nothing. He just said it like it was. I'll never forget it. When I first got hired on, He's like, Brian, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This will be the hardest job you ever had in your life. And he wasn't lying. He said, this job is going to rip you to shreds, or it's going to build you up into something that you can be proud of, you know, if you give it some effort. And so I went back to my story about the guy that was bragging about making $60,000. I told him I was going to get my CDL, and I set it up with the manager. I didn't know the manager. I just knew the dispatcher. I said, hey man, I want to get my CDL. What kind of opportunity you guys going to give me? He said, we'll bump you up to $17 an hour and give you your own truck once you get your CDL. I said, okay, deal. I took a month off without pay. This was back when I was making $14 an hour. My checks were like $600 a week. Or every 2 weeks. $600 every 2 weeks. So I was making like $1,200 or something like that. It was a very small amount. And so I'm going to take a whole month off for CDL school because that's what it takes. And then I'm going to get my CDL and we're going to get bumped up to $17 an hour, $17.50 starting. So from $14 to $17.50 is what I was going for. I got a loan from the bank. My stepdad had to co-sign. It was a $3,000 loan. It was only $3,000, guys. $3,000. That's how poor I was. I saved up $3,000, and I wanted to get, or no, I saved up $4,000, and I needed a $3,000 loan so I could pay for all my bills for the whole month. So I saved up the money for the school, and then my stepdad co-signed a loan so I could have enough money to pay for my food and pay for my rent and all that stuff. And then I finally got my CDL, and I had to take the test a few times because I failed it, you know? And now it's because it's basically rigged against you, honestly. Because every time you fail, they make another $100, right? So it's kind of a money grab thing. It has nothing to do with driving or nothing. I graduated with the top of my class, but for some reason they thought it was okay to fail me 3 times on the pre-trip inspection. Bull crap with the multipliers. Like, oh, you didn't say this tire had a scuff on it, or, you know, some crap like that. Anybody that's ever gotten a CDL, you know what I'm talking about. It's a money grab. So I ended up finally getting my CDL. I was almost to the point where I was like, man, I'm gonna pay this tester off. I'm gonna offer like $300 just to pass me, because they're just trying to take my money. That's all they want. They don't care if I know nothing. What they're failing me for, they don't care if I know nothing. You know, they already knew I was top of the class. I got the certificate to prove it. So anyways, I ended up getting my CDL, but I was so broke. Even with that $3,000 loan I co-signed with my stepdad, I was so broke, I had to call my grandpa up and say, Grandpa, if I buy food, I don't got money for rent. I need you to bring some groceries over. You know, you can help me out with some groceries, I'd appreciate it, you know. And then, Convoy, I got my CDL. Those guys, they had the audacity and the nerve to say to me, oh, Brian, this is kind of a pilot program. Nothing's set in stone. I worked for that company for, I think it was 2 months more after I got my CDL. And I went up, and they hadn't given me my raise to $17 an hour. They had me doing both jobs. They had me driving a truck and loading roofs. And I said to Troy, the guy that hired me, I said, hey man, I'm gonna go talk to the manager because I want my raise to $17.50 an hour. Like, I deserve it. I got my CDL, I did everything I said. Now it's time for them to man up and pay their end of the deal. And I went into the office and the guy said, well, Brian, you're not Mr. Truck Driver. I said, dude, I got my CDL. You either give me the $17.50 you promised me, or I'm out. At the end of the day, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if I'm not making $17.50 and have my own truck at the end of the day, you won't see me here tomorrow. I know it was busy too. It was the summertime, and it was like a Thursday or something, so I knew it was, the next day was swamped. I knew it was a busy day. And I gave him the ultimatum, and he said, well, Brian, we can't just wave a wand and give you a raise. I said, bull crap. Yes, you can. See you later. I got off work. I went straight to Washington Cedar and Supply, and I said, look, I don't know you, Rick. I worked for 2 roofing companies. Here's my experience. All I want from you is what I was promised at Convoy Supply. I don't need to start out at 20 bucks an hour or whatever you start your drivers out at. I want what I was promised when I got my CDL. Now it's $17.50. I don't need to be making a higher starting wage. All I want is what I was told I was gonna get starting. I'm not thinking I'm Mr. Super Trucker or nothing. You don't need to start me out at 20 bucks an hour. To start me out at what I was promised I was gonna make when I got my CDL, which was $17.50. He said, deal. You can start tomorrow. I was loading roofs the next day for the competition for what they told me they were gonna pay me. And then I met this guy, what's his name? It's a Filipino guy. His name just escaped me. Filipino guy, short. I think his name was like Nito or Nalito, that's his name, Nalito. Dude, that guy is the only guy that ever, okay, I take that back. There's like 3 guys that could ever like really compete with me on the level of roof loading that I was at. Nalito was one of them. This guy, he was a Filipino dude, and he was short and skinny, but this dude could load a roof. Like, he was fast. He was fast, just like me. And, you know, I learned a lot of work ethic from that guy too, because he was older than me. He's still working for the same company. He's still working for Washington Cedar. He was working there when I started, and he's still working there. And Nalito, man, that guy, that's one of the guys that I really admired. That guy. I still do. I still really admire him. And every time I'm by Washington Cedar Supply, I want to stop in and shake that guy's hand. You know, just go say hi and see how he's doing. I would give that guy a job in a heartbeat. I'd try and steal him if I could. If he was down to drive dump trucks, I would steal him, because you know why? I seen his work ethic. He don't pull over and take a nap. He don't go out and milk the clock so, you know, that he can get back to the yard 10 minutes after the other truck so he can get the easier load of the day. Me and Nalito, we were basically the same type of person, you know. A lot of guys would try and time it. If you had experience in the roofing industry, you know what I'm talking about. Guys will be like, hey man, let's drag this out another 15 minutes longer. I know the other truck had 3 loads, we had 3 loads, they're all in the same area. We drag this out, they'll get back to the yard and they'll get 2 loads. We'll get back, 5 minutes after them, and we'll get 1 load, and then we can go home early. Guys did that all the time. Everybody knows who does it too. Everybody knows who does it. Don't think you're hiding. You're not hiding from anybody. Everybody knows who you are. If you're trying to get off early every day, we know who you are. You notice. You notice, because that guy, he ain't trying to get off early one day a week. It's every single day. He's trying to get the easy loads every single day, all summer long. You know, he's just trying to make just enough and then go home. And, you know, that's okay. But I'd rather work with the guys that just want to work. You know, whatever there is, it's got to get done. Alito was one of those guys. And then, I'll never forget this also. There was another guy that got hired on. He used to be like a youth pastor or something. I think his name was Matt. This was a long time ago, guys. So I'm not sure if I'm getting their names right. I think his name was Matt. He was like a group pastor or something. He was like 25 and I was like 20, right? So I kind of looked up to him a little bit, you know, because I went to church, he went to church, he did his thing, you know. And I remember telling him, like, I always looked at the branch manager guy. He was like 25 too, but he was in the office, one of the salesmen, and he had this nice lifted pickup. And I was just always like, man, I want that pickup. Like, I want that status. And I told him, I said, man, I want to be there. He's like, Ryan, what does it matter if you spend, you know, more than the next guy on a pickup? It doesn't even matter at the end of the day, man. Like, you going to church and all, you should know that. Like, money isn't everything. And I said, yeah, I know, man, but I want it. You know, not a status thing. It's just I want to be comfortable. You know, actually back then it probably was a status thing. It probably was like, I want to impress my friends. You know, and I want to impress Grandpa and my brother and my cousins and show them that I'm the boss. You know, I've been working hard and this is what I got to show for it. That's probably what it was back then. And then, let's see, why did I leave Washington Cedar? I left Washington Cedar on the search of more money. I'll be honest, I think that's what it was. Because I don't really remember any particular instance. I was getting, you know, one of the things that I always had a problem with in the roofing industry is when you're delivering roofing, you got to have a harness and a rope on, and it's got to be anchored to the roof for safety. But honestly, when you're loading roofs, it gets in the way more than it makes you safe. At least that's my opinion of it, you know. You're more likely to slip on that rope that's dragging behind you and fall off the roof than you are to slip on the roof and fall off the roof. Like, seriously. And anybody who's a roofer knows the same thing. Like, it's almost more dangerous to have a rope and an anchor and a harness than it is to not have one. Because you're going to step on that rope and you're going to slide right off the roof. You're going to fall right on your butt. And, like, I used to put it in all the time. I used to do everything by the law, and then I just got tired of it. I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I don't feel any safer doing it. So I stopped doing it. You know, and they have their guys spying on you, you know. They'll send a safety guy out every once in a while to check, you know. And we always made it look like we were doing, we always had it looking like we were following the OSHA rules, but we weren't. Nobody did, you know. Seemed like nobody ever did it. And, reason I left there was because they were like making more stupid rules. Like, oh, you have to do this checklist before. Oh, you have to do this. You have to. It was something stupid, right? And I just got fed up with the stupidity of everything. Another thing that I didn't quite like there also is I was trying to get off of the roof. That's what I wanted really bad at that point. That was the third company I was working for. Like, I knew everything that went on. Like, and I was just like, I just don't want to be on the roof anymore. I just want to be on the truck. And at Pioneer and at Convoy, the drivers stayed on the truck. They never got on the roof. That was like the rule. Like, the driver's the boss on site, and they're on the truck. The loader is the little, errand boy, the water boy. He gets up on the roof and he does everything. He's the, he's the guy that has to do everything. He's the slave, basically. And at Washington Cedar, it was kind of a flip-flop. It just depended on who the loader was, and if you guys had it set up, if you guys had an agreement. Like, some guys like to load roofs, some guys like to load trucks. I personally had enough loading roofs, and I wanted to load the trucks. I wanted to load the conveyor up, because I developed a way where I can do it so fast, nobody can keep up. They hated it. A lot of the guys hated me for it. But, Toledo, he saw it as a challenge. He's like, yeah, let's see who's faster, Brian. Whoa, dude. Yeah, so then, see, that guy threw off my train of thought. He was swerving into my lane. One of those long haulers. He must have been driving for 400 miles already. He's trying to get to where he's going and fall asleep. Anyways, guys, the point of the story is, if you work hard, give it your all, you can make it to where I made it. I got a buddy who said, Brian, you're basically retired now, aren't you? I said, yeah, kinda. Now I only work when I want to, which is every time I have work, because I love working. But I don't have to work. I got 3 employees. I can sit home and fix the trucks and do dispatching if I want to. 3 trucks is kind of where you get out of the truck, I would say. Once you have three trucks, 3 employees, if you want to, you can stay home. Like, I have an employee that's injured on L&I, so I still work, It's nice to have that extra money, but I'll tell you what, 3 trucks, that's where you want to be at. It's the perfect amount of trucks right there. Well, and I don't even need to work today. I could have stayed home and I could have rented out another truck. I could have been like, hey, Leo, I want your truck on this job site. I'll pay you, just pay me my $5 an hour dispatch fee, But I still love working. I still am passionate about dump trucks. If I wasn't, I would have sold them already. I've definitely started to slow down on the dump trucking. As in, like, I let the drivers do it, and I do more of the maintenance on the trucks, and the dispatching, and the invoicing, and all that stuff. Customer relations. for all of those of you guys that have watched my channel and you bought a dump truck and you're working your dump truck and you're loving it and you see yourself in the future, you know, and eventually you want to get out of a truck, let me just tell you right now, 3 trucks is where it's at. I would say that's a good comfortable spot to be in, you know. It'd be even more comfortable if I didn't even have a payment, you know. If I had no payments. If you got payments, then the number's going to be completely different. I don't know. And your numbers are obviously going to be different than mine, but like I'm just saying, like if you don't own any of your trucks and you're paying the bank $4,000 a month for each truck, it's definitely going to be a different number than what my number is, you know. If you have a wife that works full time and she's pulling in almost 6 figures, your number's going to be different than what mine is. That's that propane tank hauler working into my lane. Watch, you gotta keep an eye on that guy. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for subscribing. And just, you know, remember, when you get to this level, you're still gonna have haters. The haters will never go away. Just gotta use that for fuel. You know, sometimes you gotta keep 1 or 2 of them around you, just keep that fire under you, you know. Alright guys, I'll catch you on the next one.